holla. What's up, fellas? Sari here at Sari Luna Designs. We are on week 12 of The Artist's Way. And so first, of course, we're going to do our review on week 11. Week 12 is the final week as far as the content goes, but we will meet back here again next week for our review of week 12 and the book in its entirety. There's also a little bit at the end that I might choose to go through and prepare something to share with. And then per your request, we are going to continue on with our weekly live streams discussing artist books on both creativity and I think we'll also be incorporating some creative exercises. So this will be a fun place for us to just come back and share our creative thoughts, our experiences, and I see we already have a few people here waiting, so thank you for joining. I'm sure we have our normal crew here. So if you're here and you can hear me, go ahead and put something in the chat and say holla. Let me know how your week was. Let's see, we have Kim here. Kim says, hello, Circle. What an amazing week I had. Lots of new leads on multiple streams of income. That is so cool. So I know that you had a couple projects that you were finishing up. So congratulations. That's really exciting. One thing I can share is I'm almost done with a commission painting that I got. A friend of mine who has been a supporter of my business. She's attended some of my workshops with her husband. She commissioned me to do a painting, and I'm actually really in love with it. So let me get up and show you. Also, Zandra says, hello, everybody. Hello, Zandra. Hope you had a wonderful week. So I'll just play a little show and tell here. This is my commission that I was commissioned to do. This is the I in Washington is going to be the Space Needle. I just blocked in my letters here. I think the only thing that I'm going to do is add some more, like some trees here at the base of Mount Rainier. I'm going to go ahead and add like a little bit of a faint tree line up at the top. And then as you can see, this is the state of Washington. We've got some foxglove over here, some hills that turn into some ferns that turn into some trees. We've got a robin here. So this was a commission that I had going. I'd like to finish it today and deliver it to my buddy there. So very exciting stuff. Kim, I would love to hear more about your commissions. It would be cool to see what you got going on. Oh, thank you, Zandra. Zandra says, nice painting. Kim says, awesome, Sari, love the piece. Zandra and Kim are exchanging greetings here in the chat. So we've got our nice crew here. Thank you guys for joining me again. If you missed the part at the intro, I was just talking about how this is week 12. So one more week to do our check-in, follow up, and maybe read the back of the book and pick out the book that we are going to continue on with. So Zandra, I think you said you got the books, and Kim, I think you said you got the books as well. So we can just kind of pick one out next week, or if you guys want to pick one out this week, that would be cool too. So I'm going to put this over here. All right. So without further ado, let's do our weekly check-in. Yeah, Zandra says she's got the book. Sick. So we're going to just keep this whole thing going. If you guys, whatever goes with the flow. Okay, I might just decide on the book then, unless you guys have a favorite that you want to suggest. Because I'm kind of wanting to do Steal Like an Artist just because it's so simple. In contrast with just how heavy this has been. All right, so you guys are cool if I'm gonna pick the book. So why don't we start with Steal Like an Artist. And then that way it'll just be nice little contrast with what we've been doing. A little bit more of that. Like once we've unlocked all of our creative flow, we can get through and actually even use the pages as like a starting point for an activity even. So I think I just talked myself into an idea of what we can do with that. So perfect. Sounds good to me. Everyone's cool with it. So let's see. Oh, look how I have no notes on either side of this notebook, and I'm trying to use it, and there's like nothing in it. So this is cool. Let's just get rid of that. So what tasks did you guys end up doing last week? We had a few. Oh, did you guys do your artist altar? So one of the things in the book last week was that, morning pages are like our meditation. Likewise, if you do any like sketching, that can be used as like a meditation. And so it's encouraging us to have an artist's altar. My whole apartment is kind of an altar. My painting area is kind of an altar. We kind of discussed that this week. Sandra says, crap, I forgot the altar. She went on her date though. Right on. So you can do the altar today or whatever. What did you do for your artist date? I spent the whole day yesterday painting. I spent a day just hanging out in my garden. Artist date. I spent some time organizing and like cleaning some stuff out. And to me, the actual act of getting rid of some stuff felt like a clearing of some energy, like a release. So I don't really know if that's my artist date or just more of like a maintenance. Zandra says she went to the rock shop. It was dope. She bought a rock hounding books with future dates. Oh, that's really cool. Somebody invited me to go rock hunting with them, but I don't know them very well, and it would be like a little further out. So I kind of decided not to go. I'm like, I don't really know you. I'm not going to go on like a 2-hour trip into the woods with you. Kim says, yes, she rearranged hers to meet her wants now. Her artist date virtual gallery tour of Preston Singletary show in Toronto. Oh, that sounds really cool. What type of art is at this virtual tour that you took, Kim? Sandra says, word. She got rid of some stuff too. It's a total artist date. And she says, nice, Kim. Hot glass. Okay, that is cool. That's super cool. There's a few, he's from Seattle. Oh, how awesome is that? So Preston Singletary show. That's really cool. Zandra says, if I get any good spots, I'll take you. It's fun, but you gotta have a good spot. Okay, Zandra, I would love to go rock hunting with you. And also we need to go figure out when we're gonna go do Green Lake too. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not really like into going to the woods with strangers that like seem kind of, anyway, it's kind of fishy. So yes, I'd totally love to go with you, Zandra. And if you have a spot, I'm so happy to go with you. Word, she says. Word. Awesome. So Kim did an altar. I kind of cleaned up my space, which kind of refreshed my altar. Sandra says, what? You don't like trips that are like Criminal Minds set up? No, ma'am, I do not. I get it though. Like some people don't think about situations like that. Like if they're being like, OMFG, yes, Kim, I want to go there so bad. Oh, are you responding to the hot glass? Oh. No. Oh, I missed a comment. Kim says she grew up near Herkimer. We have a local coffee company here called Herkimer. So Herkimer Diamond Mine, and we could do a field trip. Jerry's sick. He says he has a tummy ache. We'll tell Jeremy to hope he feels better and drink some peppermint tea. Maybe take a nap. Kim, that would be really cool. Where is Herkimer? Is that because you're a little further? But yeah, that would be really cool. I'd love to go and pick rocks. A diamond mine. Oh, it's in New York. Oh, that would be so cool. And I want to do a trip out there. There's some things around there I want to go explore. Look up Herkimer diamonds. They're beautiful, technically a quartz, but gorgeous. That's super cool. I'm so down. Yeah, one of my really good friends is from New York. And there's a few things out there that I kind of want to go tromp around and check out. That would be sick. Oh yeah, that's right. We're still in a pandemic, fellas. We've got we had a record high of infections and deaths the other day. So we're still trying to be mindful of that, I suppose. So we'll have to plan a trip for like next year. I plan on like really taking so many vacations next year. North Carolina just mandated wearing masks finally. You know what? Washington State just did that too. I think it was effective on Friday. And I am so glad because I've been wearing masks forever. And what's funny is like there's still people that are saying they're not going to wear their masks. But the people that aren't so resistant, I think we'll get those people in there. I'm definitely seeing more people wearing masks, even though I work in an area where people aren't, let me just say, aren't listening to scientific reason. Let me say it that way. Kim says, me too. And everyone looks at me like I'm an alien. Nah, you're not an alien. You're just smart and considerate. It's really interesting how much people will ignore science for if there are people around them speaking in an influential way about something that is more like what they want to hear rather than like what is actually truth. So psychologically speaking, people are kind of people are easily brushing things under the rug if the herd is brushing it under the rug. Let's say that. So Zondra says, let's hope they actually ticket people. As a runner, it annoys me to see other runners flamboyantly disregarding masks and not wearing them. Your jog is not as important as someone's life, right? I went on a bike ride last week and I was wearing a mask and I wanted to friggin' die because I went up one hill. We're in Seattle. There's hills. And like I went up one big hill and I was like wearing this mask, and like also because of, you know, all the gyms and things being closed, of course, we're not as like physically fit as we could be. So I definitely agree, Zondra. We need to all be wearing masks. And man, is it hard when you're exercising, but you can still do it. Like, so anyway, let's kind of bring it back in. Let's bring it back to the book here. People. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. People's lives are important and we need to definitely take care of each other. So let's do our best to really be mindful and take care of everyone. Yeah. People. Book. Sandra says book. Back to the book. Yes. All right, kids. Says the kid. Biggest kid here. All right. So what tasks did you guys do this week? I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I only did 4 out of the 10 tasks. But that's cool. It feels like the last day of school. Kim says she did number 1. And it was strange at first listening to myself but she got over it and then listened. So let's see. So it's tape your own voice, reading the basic principles. See page 3. Choose a favorite essay from the book and tape that as well. And use this tape for a meditation. So this concept I've been using for a while, and I use it for not only like affirmations, but I use it for like if there's something that I really want to have in my life. I use this as a meditation to help me focus. I often use this before I teach a workshop. I like to go through and have a meditation where I read out my intentions for the workshop itself and for the people attending the workshop. And I find it really helpful to focus. So Kim says that she got over it and listened. So it sounded like the foreignness to the concept at first can be a little distracting, which I agree. But once you get used to doing it, it's really helpful, especially since it's like you're hearing your own voice, and it's almost like listening to your inner voice, but you're able to actually like have a recording of it. So it's really cool when you're able to focus like that. Zandra says she wants to do it, but her recording setup is messed up. They pushed an update and now she can't record. Super annoying, and then she must troubleshoot. And she says she likes that idea that I had of reading on an intention. And Kim says, yes, hearing ourselves is odd. Sandra says, yeah, Kim, it can be really strange to hear your own voice. And as somebody who's been doing workshops as well as YouTube stuff, it is really bizarre to be listening to yourself. I agree. However, there's a lot of merit to it. I've definitely become a better speaker by recording what I plan on saying and then re-listening to it. And then you realize how many times you say, you realize how many times that you go to fill the silence, often unnecessarily, into your detriment. So it's very interesting as even from a speaking standpoint. And as you can tell throughout this, I am saying but now that I've been thinking about it, it's just coming out. So let's see. Zandra says she's been listening to recordings of herself since middle school and only gets slightly better. Very true, Sari. She says, yeah. It's very interesting because you can, especially like if you're doing something like I'm doing where you're like leading something and you have all these people listening to you, it's a little very disconcerting at first because you're so into your, what do you call them? You get self-conscious, right? So listening to yourself, even if it's just you listening, can be a very self-conscious. Like sometimes I'll have a recording that I wake up to on my alarm and I'm like, well, it's a good thing I live alone because this would be really embarrassing if somebody were here and my alarm went off. So it's just a weird foreign thing. Anytime you do any internal work that is intimate, you really like want to make sure you're feeling safe and secure in your space. Like nobody's home or you're in a room with the door closed. It's really important that if you're doing something that feels so foreign like this, that you're in a safe space while you do it, because then that can take more of the distraction away. So Sandra says, word, little tangent there. I did not do the recording of those, but I think that would be really beneficial, and I like to do that for meditations. Kim says she also did number 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So number 2 is write out in longhand your artist prayer from week 4 and place it in your wallet, which is really cool. You can just kind of pull out and check up on it. If you have any comments about how that experience was for you, you can throw those in there. Number 3 is buy yourself a creativity workbook or notebook and number the pages 1 through 7. Give 1 page to each of the following categories: health, possessions, leisure, relationships, creativity, career, and spirituality. With no thoughts as to practicality, list 10 wishes in each area. All right, it's a lot. And let's let yourself dream a little here. So I did that too. I did number 3. I have this I have this notebook that I just use for like my abundance work and my intentions. I was using this for Deepak Chopra's 21-day abundance meditation. I did a little, at the beginning, I was doing that, or at the beginning of this workshop series, I was also doing a 21-day meditation challenge. And so I just decided that I was going to add to it with that. So down here, Zandra says she really liked number 3, and she says, was anyone able to find honest changes from week 4? I wanted to do that one, but I couldn't find the initial exercise. Well, let me take a look at that one here in a second. Some of the things that I noted from number 3 about, being able to dream is that a lot of this is definitely within my arm's reach. All I have to do is just reach out and make small changes. And a lot of it, I have a pathway or a general direction in which I can move. And then, of course, with synchronicity, then the path is going to appear. So it was really cool to write out what my goals were in all of these categories. All of it is attainable. And being able to find that feeling of all of it being attainable is, I think, you're going to be a lot closer to that now after working through this workbook than you were throughout at the beginning of this. So I really found that I've learned a lot about myself through this process, and because of that, my goals are also feeling more attainable, if that makes sense. So Kim, in reaction or in response to Zandra's question about honest changes from week 4, Kim says she couldn't find that either. And Zandra says, okay, it's not just me. So the honest changes from week 4, let's see. I may have had a note. So let's see, let's just take a minute here. Try and find it. If you guys couldn't find it, maybe I won't be able to, but I'm just going to take a glance. That seems weird. I'm thinking it was more within the content. It sounds familiar to me. And I don't see it right off the bat. So let me take a look at my notes, like I said, because it seems familiar to me. Maybe I was able to do that. Oh, Kim says she looks in the index. And that Zandra says she didn't think of that. So it looks like even though she looked in the index, she couldn't find it. Zandra says she wrote down some big dreams for number 3. And what she thought was interesting was, like I said, even the big dreams seem not impossible, which is really cool. Zandra says she's thinking it may have been actually called something else and or was actually in a different week. Possibly. Like, I feel like it was within the body of it, like you're saying, and like being called something else. So let's see. Week 4. Oh, right at the beginning, it says morning pages, honest changes. Do you see my notes here? So let's see, what else does it say? Must have been on the first page. So I think what it was using your morning pages from week 4 to think about the honest changes you could make. But let's see if it's at the beginning. Sorry. Weird, because I friggin' wrote it down. Sandra says Julia is sneaky. Joyce, Kim says they were even all caps, right? So, okay, so here it goes. Thanks to the morning pages, we learn what we want and ultimately become willing to make the changes needed to get it, but not without a tantrum. So in the morning pages, we meet our truth and we meet ourselves. We meet ourselves and our self-expression. One of the clearest signals that something healthy is afoot is the impulse to weed out, sort through, and discard, blah, 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 blah. The old you is leaving and grieving. Okay, so here it is. Your changes may be more like cloud movements from overcast to partly cloudy. Well, now I'm getting... It's talking about changes in energy patterns. One technique that can be very reassuring at this point is to use your morning pages or part of them for written affirmations. Dude, I don't know. Shoot. Oh. Whatever. We're almost, Sandra says, we're almost done. Okay, well, let's, yeah. Maybe, glad we are all lost together, Kim says. Sandra says, word, Kim. Well, what's funny, what's getting me is I wrote morning pages with an arrow that says honest changes. So I think the morning pages are what allows us to figure out what to change and how we can make them honest changes. But as far as write out longhand your artist prayer, working with the honest changes section in week 4. What? Honest change. Okay, I'm going to stop. Let's just move on. Maybe she was channeling through Sari that day. Probably. Dude. Okay, let's go on. I'm going to go crazy if I can't figure this out, but we have to let it go. So, here's an honest change we can make right now. Move on. All right, so let's see. Cool. Well, you know what? I'm sure you can figure out some honest changes you can make today. So why don't we do this? List 5 ways you will change as you continue. Did anybody do that? Zandra listed off. Oh, Kim says she did that. No, 5? Yeah, Kim did 5. Did Zandra do 5? Yes, she did, Kim says. So 5 changes I can make. Ooh, so I did, one of my favorite changes that I listed was that I was going to act on my creative inspiration. So number 5 clearly says list 5 ways you will change as you continue. So I just did it. I just took it at face value and did that, and ignoring the fact that it seemed like it was a reaction to number 4. So, you know, and I just took it as like, this is what I'm envisioning for myself, you know, so I did stuff like, you know, I will find constant inspiration. I will act on inspiration. My confidence solidifies. My worth is known. My bank account grows. I don't know. Shit that I want. So that worked out for me. And then number 6, 5 ways you plan to nurture yourself in the next 6 months, i.e. courses you will take, supplies you will allow yourself, artist dates, and vacations just for you. Zandra says that's a good one, Sari. So, you know, I did, you know, in the next 6 months, I'm going to adopt my old habit, which was if I didn't do blank yesterday, then I have to do it today. Insert whatever your goal is. So that's kind of a nice rule. I've done it with yoga, I've done it with painting, and I've done it with whatever art project I'm working on. And it's if I did not do blank yesterday, that means I have to do it today. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kim says, not allow toxic people into my headspace. I'm the artist I can be. Sandra says number 6 was fun. Yeah, 6 was a lot of fun. Another thing that I did was, you know, I want to do a tutorial every week, whether it be like a 5-minute tutorial or like an hour tutorial, it doesn't matter. Like I want to do a tutorial every week because anytime you're able to see how somebody else does something, that gives you a different perspective or it gives you a new tool in which you can apply with your own perspective. Kim says, oh, I already read that. You know, I want to take a vacation by myself, whether it be like a small road trip, just to go see like a national park or something. I just think that would be kind of fun. I've just kind of been sitting around here. Even if it's just like a day trip, a drive. You know, did some goals like that. Number 7, take out a piece of paper and plan 1 week's nurturing for yourself. So this means 1 concrete, loving action every single day for 1 week. Number 8 is write and mail an encouraging letter to your inner artist. Sounds silly and very, very good to receive. Remember, your artist is a child and loves praise and encouragement of festive plans. Zandra says, I ended up planning 2 weeks of nurturing. Very good. And what's cool about that is when you plan tasks like this, you can kind of recycle it. So like in the future, if you're ever like, oh, I would really like to do something and I don't know what, you can go back and draw from it. I used to make, it's got a little out of hand, and so I kind of abandoned it. But if you can just like take a jar, I had several jars. It got out of hand. I just made it way too complicated. But if you can take 1 jar and little pieces of paper and you can write an activity on them and put them in a jar, if you're ever like, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do, you can just like put your hand in there and pull one thing out and do one of the things off that list. And so I might suggest doing that with your 2 weeks of nurturing. That way it's like you still have like a variety of things to do, but like you're not like stuck to a schedule, which sometimes schedules can feel constricting, and it kind of makes it a little bit more fun. Ideas. You can also down here re-examine your God or universe concept. What is your belief system, and does it limit or support your creative expansion? Are you open-minded about altering your concept of God or the universe? I'm open-minded about it, but you know, we've already had this discussion pretty thoroughly at the beginning of this workshop, especially like with Jeremy talking about atheists having problems, and I'll just go ahead and reiterate again what I said then, and it's that the tools in here are packaged in a way that the perspective is from a God or a universe flowing through you. However, without the God or the universe, the tools are still applicable and obvious that they work if you actually do them. Sandra says she likes the jar idea. So yeah, I'm very flexible on my ability to apply new techniques and listen to perspectives. However, my idea of the universe is pretty pointed and specific. So anyway, a lot of people are, but I think regardless of the way she's packaging it, and maybe I'm taking it too seriously, but my encouragement is to not take it very seriously and just like allow the activities to speak for themselves. Just try the activity and see that it works, kind of thing. Anyway, so our check-in. Woo! Did we all do our morning pages this week? And how was the experience for you? Have you recommended morning pages to anybody else, and why? I like the morning pages. I find that I'm a lot more clear-headed. I find that, I don't know, I feel like I can kind of compartmentalize, or like, I don't know what to say. I feel like I just get my thoughts out onto the page, and then I don't really have to deal with them jumbling around in my head. Sandra says she's recommended the morning pages to several people. It's pretty cool, especially if you're like a singer-songwriter, even like me as like a visual artist. The morning pages help me. Honestly, like I figure out through a combination of painting and writing, I kind of figure out how I feel. But I think it's a valuable tool. So did you do your artist date this week? We already kind of talked about that. Scheduling an entire artist day, we kind of talked about that. I did a whole artist day yesterday. It was really cool, very rewarding. I just kind of puttered around the house, cleaned, hung out with my plants, and I painted, and I had good music, and I worked out. Like, it was just like a nice day. Sandra says she agrees. It's a way to get the static out of her head as far as the morning pages goes, what she's responding to. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Kim did, because Kim got some new commissions here this week, some new avenues of financial income. Sandra loves hung out with my plants. Totally hang out with them. I like my plants. I go out and their energy's all good. Like some people you hang out with and they have really good energy. And my plants always have really good energy for me. So I just go chill with them and they just like remind me, oh yeah, hey, look, not everybody's a shithead. All right. Plants are cool. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant in your recovery? Describe them. Kim, if you have any more to say about your new income, now would probably be the time to take a little moment and comment on if you had any synchronicity. Zandra says, some people are people, and some people are animal people, and some are plant people. I'm an animal people. I'm pretty good with people, but I definitely need to detox from them, and I'm a total animal person. It's funny because people come through, I work in a drive-through, and some people come through my drive-through at work, and they're like, oh my God, my dog doesn't like people. Why does this? And they're like, oh my God, my dog loves you. And I'm like, why does your dog just love me? She doesn't do that to the other girls. She's like, well, because you're nice to her. And I'm like, who can be mean to a dog? Kim says, triptych. Kim has a stained glass triptych, which is like a 3-panel commission, teaching at an arts council in a different county. That is really cool. That's so awesome. I'm really excited for you. A triptych, that's so neat. Because then it's like you're able to plan it as if it's one piece, but then you get to make 3 different pieces. And I think it just, like, a big piece is really cool, but there's just something really special about a triptych where you got like the 3 pieces. And then teaching at an arts council in a different county, that is really cool. You're like, oh, that's so cool. I'd love to hear more about that as this develops for you. That would be really cool. Yeah. Sandra says, nice, Kim. Congratulations. Super awesome. You know, you put yourself out there and you say you want to do stuff, and then it comes to you, and look, that door just was open for you. Congratulations. Yay. Little fledglings. So that means, are you going to be opening your studio to be working there, Kim, or are you just going to kind of be doing stuff out of your home still? Kim says she's scared because class is the last week in July and it's hard to teach glass cutting 6 feet away. I would just require masks. As you said that it's already required there for you. So that'll help a lot. And if you look at the contagion percentages of both people wearing masks, it's pretty good. Also wear some eye covering too. That's kind of just been what I've been doing to help me feel better. It is hard. It's hard when you're around people. I unfortunately have been around people really closely, and these people are not considering, as I said, the scientific reasons, and they're more considering the hive mind of, I don't want to wear a mask. So I've been feeling very vulnerable. So I can empathize with that a lot. It's really difficult to put yourself out there, especially when this is still going on. But being grateful for the opportunity and just requiring everybody to be as safe as possible is just my suggestion. Kim says she's working out of the studio, but she's not open yet. Well, that's really cool. I'm glad you're back in your studio. I know it was empty for a while. It's going to be nice to have things kind of slowly start to open. I think as people are required to have their masks, it's going to make it a lot safer for everybody, and except for those people that don't want to go along with it. But, well, good. You know, it's scary, but just be as safe as you can. So you're the only, Kim says she's the only store downtown that's not open. Well, open when you're ready. You know, do what's best for you. And with the glass cutting and the council, I mean, just be safe. Welcome to North Carolina. Right. Yeah, so there's a different mindset there. I feel very grateful that I live in Seattle. I work not in Seattle. So it's a little bit of a different culture where I work. So I feel you. I feel you for sure. It's difficult. Well, all right, you guys. I think that concludes our review. So why don't we just get popping into week 12? This week our topic is recovering a sense of faith. Oh, Kim says pizza party next week. Heck yeah, pizza party. Yeah, y'all make your pizza and I'll make mine. And hell, I'll probably grab some vodka too. Let's have a celebration bash. All we'll be doing is our review, and then we'll just be chatting. Do you guys want to talk about? Why don't we do a Zoom meeting next week so we can all be on camera? Can we do a Zoom meeting next week? You guys are going to have to send me your emails. Okay, Zondra's in. So send me your emails and have Jeremy send me his too. Send me your emails. Let's do a private Zoom meeting next week and we'll do a pizza party and we can actually talk. I'd like to maintain. Kim says, oh my God, now you will know I am old. Who cares? Age is just a number. I'm 99 years young, right? I'm a vampire. You didn't know that? I'm 312 years old, so don't feel bad. Okay, so do you not want to? Are you going to tap out if we do a Zoom party, Kim? Stop. Don't feel like we're not ageist here. Wait, yes, you do what? Oh, what did I say? Are you going to tap out? What did I say? I'm not sure which one you're responding to. All right. Oh, so Kim says, yeah, she'll still show up. Kim, you should just have fun, that much more to share, right? All right, so send me your emails, you guys, and we'll do a Zoom party next week. We'll do a pizza party, chat, whatever, and that'll be really fun. Our own little private guy. Yeah, and then we'll bust out our books and we'll kind of talk about stuff. Sandra says, in the words of some comedians I heard once, in your 20s, you don't have a gut to trust. Dude, right? Well, that's because we've been conditioned by that time to not trust our gut. I have a whole belief system about this, okay? Like when parents lie to their kids about things, then kids are taught to not trust their internal guidance, and that's why people don't know how to trust their gut, is because they're led away from it. Beliefs. All right. Recovering a sense of faith. In this final week, we acknowledge the inherently mysterious spiritual heart of creativity. We address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust, capacities we have developed through our work in this course. Okay. We set our creative aims and take a special look at last-minute sabotage. We renew our commitment to the use of the tools. So we've got a little quote here from the Grateful Dead drummer Mickey Hart. It says, adventures don't begin until you get into the forest. That first step is an act of faith. I really like that. So we have to have faith that creativity requires faith. Faith requires that we relinquish control. So you just have to kind of trust that, like, I'm going to be able to produce this. Each of us has an inner dream that we know can unfold if we will just have the courage to admit what it is. The admitting is often very difficult. A clearing affirmation can often open the channel. An example of this is, I trust my own inner guide. Using an affirmation can help lead us to our own direction, which we will then often promptly resist. What does it say over here on the side? It said our last minute sabotage is resisting the direction. So we are not accustomed to thinking that the universe's will for us and our own inner dreams can coincide. So, i.e., if you can dream it, you can do it. If you have a dream, then you should just go for it. Why would you want something if you weren't supposed to have it? The truth is that we are all meant to be bountiful and to live. The universe will always support affirmative action. Our truest dream for ourselves is always the universe's will for us. Over here on the side, we have a little Miles Davis quote, and he says, "Do not fear mistakes because there are none." So if we look back at the times when the world seemed to be a capricious and untrustworthy place, we see that we were ourselves ambivalent and conflicted in our goals and behaviors. i.e., a mirror, the world is a mirror. Once we trigger an internal yes by affirming our truest goals and desires, the universe mirrors that yes and expands it. So, opportunities. We'll get sent opportunities and open doors, and then we will easily find reasons why we should be nervous about them or say no. I'm talking to everybody on this stream, and I think that everybody on the stream can really find an example of saying no to the universe when it's giving us opportunities, right? So we just kind of have to trust that it'll work out. So there is a path for each of us. When we are on our right path, we have sure-footedness. We know the next right action, although not necessarily what is just around the bend. By trusting, we learn to trust. So that was the first little section of chapter week 12. That was called trusting. So now we're going to get in here into the topic of mystery. Creativity, like human life itself, begins in darkness. We need to acknowledge this. All too often, we think only in terms of light. And then the light bulb went on and I got it. It is true that insights may come to us as flashes. It is true that some of these flashes may be blinding. It is, however, also true that such bright ideas are preceded by a gestation period that is interior, murky, and completely necessary. Yeah, so I'm thinking about that in terms of my own goals and in terms of how, like, I know, like, perhaps one of my goals is a feeling that I want to have. And perhaps one of my goals is really, really, really big. And I have no idea how I'm going to get there. So, like, that darkness and that murkiness is kind of the mystery. And that's kind of like the adventurous part, to where it's like, okay, I have this dream. And why would I have the dream if I wasn't able to attain it, right? Like, so why would that idea have come to me if I wasn't able to do it? And being able to trust that that idea came to you because you can do it. And even though the way there is murky and it's unclear and it's shrouded in darkness, maybe that's just kind of the fun of it, is not knowing how the universe is going to bring things to us through synchronicity, right? Like, it's just like earlier in this book we were talking about, you'll meet a neighbor. A neighbor will move in who happens to know somebody that has the connection that needs an opening filled that you have the perfect talents to fulfill. And also that's part of something that you were dreaming. we've got some action here in the comments. Sandra says, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Alan Watts seemed applicable. For sure, for sure. I'm trying to think, there's a Buddhist one too. The lotus grows in muddy water. I don't know, but one of my Buddhism courses, we were talking about why meditation is helpful, and it's because it's like when you're thinking and you're trying to figure things out, you're stirring the mud up into the water. And meditation, silencing and pulling yourself back and keeping your mind still, allows that dirt to float down to the bottom, and then you get that clear water, which is your clarity. And I found that when I meditate, that's really what happens, and you're able to enjoy it a lot more. So yeah, Sandra says, let me read that again. Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Perfect. I went off on a tangent there. Let's see if I can figure out where I left off. Ideas like stalactites and stalagmites form in the dark inner cave of consciousness. They form in drips and drops, not by squared off building blocks. We must learn to wait for an idea to hatch. Or to use a gardening image, we must learn to not pull our ideas up by the roots to see if they are growing, thus destroying them, or forcing us to start over, or whether it be emotionally. So, mulling on the page is an artless art form. It's fooling around, it's doodling. It's the way that ideas slowly take shape and form until they are ready to help us see the light. All too often, we try to push, pull, outline, and control our ideas instead of letting them grow organically. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. Ooh, that hits home with me. I have had major control issues, and you can't control anyone but yourself. And so that's been a big, big thing that I've learned. And probably will still continue to learn, because I feel like once we have an inclination for an issue, that it continues to pop up. And it's like, as with meditation, it's like a practice, right? So we have to practice letting go and relinquishing control. Mystery is at the heart of creativity. That and surprise. All too often when we say we want to be creative, we mean that we want to be able to be productive. And to be creative is to be productive, but by cooperating with the creative process, not by forcing it. We need to trust the darkness. The mulling on the page can feel threatening. I'll never get any real ideas this way, we may fret. But hatching an idea is like baking bread. It has to rise. You can't poke at it. If you keep checking on it and opening the door, it will never rise. Open that oven too soon and the bread collapses. Creativity requires a respectful reticence. The truth is that this is how to raise the best ideas. Let them grow in dark and mystery. Let them form on the roof of our consciousness. Let them hit the page in droplets. Trusting the slow and seemingly random drip, we will be startled one day by the flash of, oh, that's it. Sandra says, you can't control anyone but yourself, except some aspects of self can't even be controlled. Word, feel the burn. I think that depending on where you are, things can be easier to control. And I think that being easy on ourselves and not beating up on ourselves if we are not in a place to control ourselves is the best and kindest thing we can do for ourselves. Sandra says, word, feel the burn. Yeah. I think we're all just constantly works in progress, and need to just be gentle with ourselves, forgiving of ourselves. Yeah. So do your best and forget the rest. All right, so the next we have is imagination at play. So trusting that things will happen, the mystery, allowing yourself to just have fun and play and enjoy that mystery. Now we come here at our imagination and how we can have it play. When we think about creativity, it's all too easy to think art with a capital A. For our purposes, capital A art is the scarlet letter, branding us as doomed. In order to nurture our creativity, we require a sense of festivity and even humor. Art, that's somebody my sister used to date. What the fuck? Oh, man. Oh, somebody wrote something and took it back. I don't know who Prince Vegeta is, but hey, welcome here. I love Vegeta. I have a Vegeta pop doll that's on a beaded cuff that lights up. It's pretty dope. So whoever you are, Prince Vegeta, welcome. Oh man, check this out. We are an ambitious society, and it is often difficult for us to cultivate forms of creativity that do not directly serve us and our career goals. I struggle with that big time. Just allowing myself to make art and just allowing it to be whatever it is. Like, not every single piece has to be like this big, gigantic thing. Recovery urges our reexaminating definitions of creativity and expanding them to include what in the past we may call hobbies. The experience of creative living argues that hobbies are in fact essential to the joyful life. Many hobbies involve artist brain mulling that leads to enormous creative breakthroughs. Gardening is another hobby I often assign to creativity students. When someone's panicked halfway across the bridge into a new life, repotting plants into larger and better containers is quite literally grounds that person and gives them a sense of expansion. Kim says, I love making art with no goal. It is freeing. It certainly is. Like, not having a goal. You know what? That should be my artist state this week. Making a piece of art with no goal. I like it. There is a release into humility that comes from doing something by rote. As we serve our hobby, we are freed from our ego's demands and allowed the experience of merging with a greater source. This conscious contact frequently affords us the perspectives needed to solve vexing or personal creative conundrums. We must work at learning to play. As we work with our morning pages and artist states, many forgotten samplings of our own creativity may come to mind. I had forgotten all about those paintings I did in high school. I loved painting those flats in Drama Tech. I suddenly remembered I played Antigone. Who could forget her? I used to tap dance. As we write, digging ourselves out of denial, our memories, dreams, and creative plans all move to the surface. We discover anew that we are creative beings. The impulse cooks in all of us all in. Wait, what? I don't know what I just said. The impulse cooks in us all, simmering along the time. Cooking analogy here. We are intended to create. We refurbish a dowdy kitchen, tie bows on a holiday cat, experiment with a better soup. All kinds of silly shit here, guys. We want to do something, but we think it needs to be the right something. by which we mean something important. And as Kim says, I love making art with no goal. It is freeing. So we are what's important, and the something that we can, or the something that we do can be something festive but small. Dead plants go. Mismatched socks bite the dust. We are stung by loss, bitten by hope, working with our morning pages. A new and gaudy life takes form. Who bought that azalea? Why the sudden taste for pink? I don't know what I'm reading anymore. Your life is meant to be an artist's date. That's why we were created. Over here, Martin Buber says, play is the exaltation of the possible. All right. So we just have a little bit more here. Escape velocity. So here's the theory. When you're going to leave them, they know. The same theory applies to creative recovery. It occurs when you reach an escape velocity. There's a time for blast off, like a NASA space launch, and you're headed for it. And then wham, you draw to you the test. And the test is like when you're all set to marry the nice guy, the one that treats you right, and then Mr. Poison gets wind of it and phones you up. The whole trick is to evade the test. We all draw to us the one test that's our total nemesis. Oh, how messed up is this? Wow. So I think this is again touching on that last minute self-sabotage. So the escape velocity is what we need to pass the test in this analogy. So in order to not get sucked back into those detrimental habits that we have, we need to keep our eye on that prize and really realize that we made this choice here for a reason, and not to view our choices as mistakes. Interesting. So do we really draw to us a test? So Julia is saying that she thinks about everything that this person who's telling her about the test had told me, and she concluded that the answer was yes. That test, that's that last minute self-sabotage. So So there was an editor who asked her for a rewrite upon rewrite until gruel was all that was remained. But who always said I wrote brilliantly and was her brightest star? Sorry, I'll read the whole paragraph here. So Julia says she thought of all the times she'd been fooled by this test. There was the agent who managed to undo done deals but apologized so prettily. There was the editor who asked for a rewrite upon rewrite until gruel was all that remained. So it's talking about like digging your heels in and saying, no, like this is good. This is what it is. So she says, a little flattery can go a long way toward deterring our escape velocity. Soak in a little cash. More sinister than either is the impact of a well-placed doubt can have. Doubt is like a big Achilles heel. Sandra says it's like inverse synchronicity. Exactly. Yeah. So allowing yourself to self-sabotage is kind of a way to oppose synchronicity if you allow it to fool you, right? So more sinister than either the impact of a well-placed doubt can have. So the most sinister type of test is a well-placed doubt. And an example of that is for your own good, just wanting to make sure you've thought about this doubt, voiced by one of our nearest and dearest, and sometimes even ourselves. So Zandra says synchronicity on kryptonite. Exactly. As recovering creatives, many of us find that every time our career heats up, we reach for our nearest wet blanket. Oh, shit. Hitting home here, guys. We will call him up, and if we don't, he calls us. This is a test. Kim says, everyone wants us to doubt ourselves. Exactly. Yeah. And oftentimes we need to know not to answer that phone call and not to make that call. Because I think deep down, if you're aware of this concept, you can see it coming. It's like learning to listen to your inner guide. Like the more and more you listen to it, the stronger and stronger it sounds. Just like the more and more you recognize the test, the more and more knowing you are that that's exactly what it is. Sandra says we are more predictable. Oh, Sandra says we are more profitable when we are plagued by doubt. I don't understand what that means. We're more profitable when we're plagued by doubt? I don't understand what you mean. Do you think you could clarify, Sandra? I'm not sure what that means. So for Kim says, then we prove them wrong. Yeah, so Sandra says, we have to fix ourselves if we have doubt. Fixing equals profit. Oh, right. Yeah, if you can recognize that the doubt is there and you can just tell yourself, hey, like, I can't pay any mind to this. I know exactly what this is. Then yes, you will profit in the end. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, we are enough, Sandra says. Exactly. Yeah, I get it. Beautiful. Got you. I think it's also important to not see ourselves as broken too. And just see ourselves maybe as fledglings, as growing and learning. But yeah, no, I like that. That's a good point, Sandra. Oh, here we go. Our artist's child, an inner youngster, and when he or she is scared, mommy's what we've called for. Unfortunately, many of us have wet blanket mommies and a whole army of wet blanket surrogate mommies. These are the friends who have our second, third, and fourth thoughts for us. I feel like these are the people that are like, well, you should be really careful and be really cautious and don't get your hopes up and blah, 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 blah. I feel like those are like a mild wet blanket, but those are kind of like the sneaky wet blankets. So the trick is to not let them be that way. How? Zip your lip, button up, keep a lid on it. Don't give away the gold. Don't talk about the things to the people who you know are going to come in and place that doubt for you. And also, probably on that note, while you're still learning how to recognize that, somebody else that I see as a mentor says something to the degree of, don't talk about your dreams. Act on your dreams and let them come to fruition, and then talk about them once the fruit is there. Because a lot of times those wet blankets, and now I'm circling back to Julia, those wet blankets, they're like the I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it type of people. And I think what we're being encouraged here to do is to believe it, go for it, see it, and then talk about it. And that helps us avoid those situations altogether while we get strong in it. Kim says, keep your hand close to your chest. Don't let them see your cards. Yeah, like poker. Exactly. Don't be sharing your card here. I like it. Yeah, like I have certain plans. I have certain things that I talk about very openly that are plans for me, but I have a certain level of faith in what it is that I'm doing and confidence in what it is that I'm doing. So to a certain degree, if that is okay for me to talk about, but even so, my belief does not keep the person from spewing their doubt at me. So even though I'm confident that this is my path to getting there, it's still better for me to not be telling people what it is that I'm doing, because there's just so much negativity, and I feel like we can invite that from people. And when we're still trying to act on something and get it going, and even once we've even accomplished it, there's still some people that are like, well, you should be careful and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, I know that. So we are fully capable of being able to examine what it is we're doing, and taking it one step at a time is important without negativity and wet blankets. We got some action here in the comments. Zondra says, yeah, this is why I liked last week's respect comes from the work. It's the let the work do the talk mentality. Exactly. And if you have an inspired action that you want to take, that doesn't mean that the person in your life is going to see that as inspired action. So it's important to consider the fact that we are trusting ourselves and the inspiration we have, rather than the naysayers and wet blankets. Right. So Zondra again says it's let the work do the talk. Right. Uh-oh, my computer is going to die soon. Let's get back here. All right, so in order to achieve escape velocity, we must learn to keep our own counsel, to move silently among doubters, to voice our plans only among our allies, and to name our allies accurately. Make a list, those friends who support me. Make another list, those friends who won't. Name your wet blankets for what they are, wet blankets, and wrap yourself in something else. Dry ones, fluffy heated towels. Don't indulge or tolerate anyone who throws cold water in your direction. Forget good intentions. Forget they didn't mean it. Remember to count your blessings. Escape velocity requires the sword of steely intention and the shield of self-determination. They will try to get you. Don't forget that. Set your goals and set your boundaries. Also, set your sights and don't let the ogre that looms on the horizon deflect your flight. Okay, you guys, we've got some tasks here. We have 10 tasks and our check-in to do next week. So let's do this. Send me your emails. Send me your email addresses. We'll meet back here on YouTube next week at 2 p.m. and we will do our weekly check-in. And after that, we'll move to Zoom for our pizza party. So send me your emails. I believe you can send me a private message here on YouTube, or you can go to my website, SariLunaDesigns.com. The link will be in the description of this YouTube video. Go to my website and send me your email on my website, and I will send you a private Zoom link, And next week, we'll meet here on YouTube at 2 o'clock to do 2 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time to do our weekly check-in. And then once we do that, we'll move over to Zoom and we'll have our pizza party and we'll celebrate and we'll just have a really good time. So, all right, you guys, you did awesome. I really think that was like a major mic drop for Julia here. Like that was some good stuff. We did a really good chapter this week. So let's stay on track. Let's finish our book strong and we'll meet up here. All right, Kim says see you next week. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Love you. Be safe. Have fun. Don't forget your artist dates. All right, you guys, next week. Bye, kiddos.